I have seen 875 of my own lifetimes. So I remember a lot. This is my seventh time on Earth, and every time the cycle has been of 2.5 million years. So this is probably the 15th million year of my energy existence on Earth.
Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast, a talk show. On this show, we discuss about multiple dimensions of our soul, how we are spiritual beings on a temporary human journey. We discuss different point of views, perspectives, and dimensions of science, technology, and spirituality. We discuss about deep, profound spiritual and mystical experiences of people. We share these experiences so we shine the light within bright. Our today's guest is Sahar. Sahar is a metaphysical therapist, life coach, and author. Her observation is that life has the answer to every question and offers solutions only if we pause to pay attention. To pause is to overcome fear so that we can slow down. She works with people to help them to move from fear to faith, faith in self as well as in life itself. Sahar shared her very profound experience where she saw hundreds of past lives and how many times she has come on earth. It's very fascinating as well as thought provoking. So let's dive right in. So, hi Sahar, a very warm welcome to this Multidimensional Soul podcast, and it's lovely to have you here.
Hi, Akanksha. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.
Sure. And I know that you are into so many things that you do. You're a past life regression therapist, you are a Silva coach, and you are IFS, and you do multiple things, and you're a
Mhm.
clarity coach. So, how did you get into spirituality? What was your childhood like?
Very dysfunctional. I was actually not even the parent, I was the grandparent to the family and the extended family, the
Wow.
peacemaker, the one who had to hold everything together at all time, which eventually leads to you being an empath, basically. So basically, as far as I understand, being an empath is about having an extremely traumatic childhood. You catch all the wrong signals. So
Right.
that's how my childhood would have been, I would say. No complaints, but if I have to be really logical about it and honest, then this was the childhood.
So, how did you get into spirituality?
So you know how it is, Akansha, where you're asleep for way too long, the universe has to give you one tight slap. So I think my marriage was that one really tight slap. And then I had no choice but to wake up. I just wanted to find out the answer that what did I do so wrong to deserve this?
Mhm.
And then there was no looking back, when you ask the right question, so many doors open.
Right. So, I have seen one thing that many empaths have, difficult experiences in their life, whether it's childhood and otherwise, and I can speak it from my experience as well. So, what is your perspective on whether we choose these experiences before we are born in this lifetime? As do we have the soul contracts? And then can we modify the soul contracts in any way, or we come here with certain destined path and then we have to follow that?
Yeah, so we choose these experiences because every soul's ultimate purpose is to evolve, but we are ideally supposed to evolve through joy because the universe is not capable of creating misery and sorrow and pain, right? But because in joy, we don't realize the self. We get lost and we get intoxicated. So we then choose pain, which is the other pole, I would say. And what we say, destined, who chooses the destiny? The soul itself. So what we choose as our experiences is actually a part of our own free will. And we choose all these, we choose all the people we have to encounter, obviously at per the soul plan, which is before we are born, before even the conception has happened, at the other side. And then once you realize the contract, you have a contract not only with other souls, you have a contract with the cosmos. Why are you here? Which kind of divine consciousness are you ready to express and also experience? What all you want to explore to add to the collective? Because we are not separate. We look separate, but genuinely we are not. So how am I going to add value to the entire universe in my little bit of beingness? And then you also have soul contract, let's say, with the land, with the people, with whoever. Whatever is in your life, you have kind of a contract with. And you can change only if you proactively start to learn the lessons and understand your patterns and want to break them, and then slowly learn to detach from pain. Pain is just an experience, but we don't have to be stuck with it. I want to have a toothache and then want to keep the toothache for 10 years, right? A pain is supposed to be experienced and let gone. But unfortunately, emotional pain we just want to keep because we want to remain safe. So when we learn to be detached or be a detached observer of the experience, then we can choose to change the contracts. That's what is my understanding.
Yeah, there is a saying that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, do you believe in the theory of karma? Because from some
Of course.
people, okay, okay, because you talked about free will, that we plan everything before we come here in this lifetime. But in that case, while planning, do we have to consider that, okay, this is the karma that I have to redeem from the uh, past lifetimes or other lifetimes, so to say?
Yeah, of course. Even though how I understand theory of karma is a little different from what the usual concept of karma is. And actually, my entire work is based on theory of karma. The law of, if see, when we say karma, it becomes a little heavy because there is a collective notion that karma is some kind of a punishment. You did something wrong, now you have to face the consequences. However, if I go with the law of cause and effect, which makes it a little more scientific, and a little easier on the mind, is that every effect has a cause, and unless the cause is changed, the effect will remain. And if we also understand energy and how energy works, we understand energy cannot go astray. It is always completing its cyclic motion, right? It's always moving in circular motion. And of course, every time it moves and completes a cycle, it has to come to the point of conception or inception, and then it will become a bigger cycle. So, so what I start as a thought or an intention, forget about word and action. The karma starts from the thought, okay, or intention. So it has to complete the cycle and come back to me. The only problem is when it is going and taking that round, whatever is matching its frequency, it's just law of attraction also adds to it. So by the time it comes and hit me back, it looks like a punishment because it is no more just an intention now. It is an intention, then a thought, then the word and action, and now all the reactions, and now it's like a big, big snowball. And then it comes and hits you, and then you feel you've been punished. You haven't been punished. It is the law of universe. The energy has to complete its cycle, and it's really not a punishment. Now, how do we change karma? Is by becoming aware of it
Mm.
and taking ownership of our thoughts, intentions, actions, and continuously remain aware as much as we can, so that at some point with practice, we actually become aware of a lot of things, like almost everything we are thinking, and then we can stop it there and then. So at least the past karma, anyways, have to complete the cycle, right? But the present, which is causing the future karma, can actually start helping us to reduce the effect and also the energy, the frequency of you is now changing from someone who was a victim or someone who believed in punishment and all the low frequency energies. Now you're watching your acts, you know where the problem is, and when you start watching, you realize you are the problem. There is no one else who is causing problem. So because of this, your frequency is changing, and obviously the frequency of the karma and how badly it's supposed to hit you, that is also reducing because it's always in motion. It's never static, right? So that is one thing. The other thing is if you can serve through service, you can, but not every soul is supposed to serve in one particular way. The moment we say serve, people think, okay, I should do charity. Sometimes no amount of money can change your karma, but that amount of time can. So we have to discover how can I reduce the effect of my karma? What kind of service, right? And I think the last thing which I have experienced is as you become aware and as you take responsibility and choose to change your soul contracts and you proactively choose to learn your lessons differently, then you can slowly break those patterns, you know. So it is free will, but at the same time, we can't stop the energy which has been set in motion. It has to complete its cycle.
Amazing. Absolutely. Recently, what I have heard from a lot of people, the modern age spirituality, so to say, and the channelers and others, is that as we are ascending as Earth into 5D, we are raising our vibration overall as Earth. And at that time, the souls are going to be reset, and the karma, law of karma is applicable to 3D and not so much to 5D. So, what's your point of view on that?
Actually, law of karma is a universal law. People who are talking it is not applicable to 5D have not understood law of karma as the energy in motion. Maybe I'm wrong though, but this is my understanding. They're still believing karma is punishment, and then punishment belongs to 3D. But if we understand karma as an energy completion cycle, then the entire universe, it doesn't matter even if it is like 91 today, it is still energy in motion, you
Mm.
know. So how it can, the cause of it, the effect of it can be reduced because the collective consciousness is rising. But we can't say the law of karma will not apply to 5D because then we are actually denying how energy works, which is not a possibility, right? So, to my understanding, there is a gap here. Somewhere the understanding seems to be diluted.
Okay. Okay. Coming to your own experiences, can you share what is the deepest spiritual experience you had?
The deepest spiritual experience would be 12 and a half hours trance meditation kind of experience I had in Canada. And it started with me seeing how I came into existence into this life, how the entire universe and the energy movement and motion had to change and create a space for my energy constellation to, get together and create a certain web of energy and pattern, and then slowly a cell, like an atom, and then a molecule, and then a cell, and then my conception and my womb, and and then it went on and on and on. And it was a 12 and a half hours trance, which was, I think, by far the deepest spiritual experience I've ever had.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you remember anything prior to taking birth?
I have seen 875 of my own lifetimes, so I remember a lot. And
Hmm.
I also know this is my seventh karmic cycle. I mean, not karmic cycle. This is my seventh uh, ex- existing cycle. I don't have a terminology for it. This is my seventh time on Earth, and every time the cycle has been of 2.5 million years. So this is probably the 15th million year of my energy existence on Earth.
Wow. So where were the other lifetimes that 875? They were in some other solar system, some other star, or
Yeah, so some of them I have had in other universes, I would say, not solar system, but actually about five I have seen of other universes where I also look differently. I also have seen two of, no, actually three of different dimensions where the whole functionality and the work and the way you look and everything is very different. There is no concept of time and space, and any voluntarily evolutional journey. It's a very static, duty based dimension. You're only doing that for, let's say, as long as you're in that dimension. And it's really, really very, I mean, as a human consciousness, when you see that, you're like, oh my God, this is something I don't want to do forever. Then I have also had lifetimes of animals, um, plants, elements, gems, and even a ring who held a gem. And then, of course, human lifetimes, and many countries and many soils. And I've also had metaphoric lifetimes, which is like, let's say, a lifetime of a mermaid or a dragon. These are called metaphoric
oh,
lifetimes. These are beings who are there, but they're not really visible to the human eye because their energy frequency is very, very different.
yeah.
And then I have also had, of course, gender difference, like male, female, whatever. Yeah, many, many.
So which was the most memorable one for you?
I think a life, not all of them are actually, I remember all, not that I don't remember any, I haven't forgotten any, but I think now that suddenly you said was a lifetime of a medicine man kind of a thing. Not really a medicine man, but someone who knew how to work with herbs and who wrote a big scripture about how to use herb and energy to heal or whatever. And it was a male lifetime, and I lived in that lifetime all alone, living under a tree, and I exactly know where that was. I don't know if you have been to Hemkund Sahib in Uttaranchal. Um, so there is a place, there is a Gurudwara, a Sikh Gurudwara called Hemkund Sahib, and you have to really walk, and there's a lot of walk. And then after that, you come across the flower, Valley of Flowers. So there is a lake there.
Mhm.
So I used to be around somewhere around in that area. I very clearly remember the lake and the tree by the lake under which I died. And why I remember it very clearly is because on the day I knew today is the day I'm going to die, and I was 85 something year old. And I went and sat on the tree, and I was like, okay, I have made it. Now this is the time of death, and after this, it's going to be moksha. The biggest delusion of mankind, I think, is the concept of moksha. So I go there, I sit there, and and suddenly, as I'm preparing to exit from the crown chakra, whatever the soul is preparing, suddenly I feel a nudge, a very soft nudge on my knee, and I don't want to open my eye, and the nudge is very, very persistent, and I open my eye, I saw this really cute looking, adorable boy, 3, 4 year old, and he gives me a pear, the fruit. And I'm like, okay, let me not break your heart. I'll have it and go. How does it make a difference? So I take the pear and I look into the eye of the child to say thank you, and I get attached. And there goes the whole 85, 6 years of tapasya. And then, Akanksha, it's not funny. In my entire life, till even now, I'm not very fond of that fruit, but at least I can at least look at it and have it. But for 35, 36 years of my life, without tasting that fruit, I just hated the sight of it. I hated that fruit so much that my parents have stopped buying it because it used to be a biggest tantrum in the house, and I would just howl and I don't know what was it. So they realized, okay, let's not buy it only. So you see how a past life can have so much of, intense effect on even your this. So when I saw that, I realized, oh my God, this is why I hate the fruit so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is one I remember. I just remembered now, but I mean, I remember most of my lifetime.
Interesting. So you said that the biggest illusion is moksha. So what is enlightenment, self-realization, or moksha as per you?
Enlightenment is nothing but you realizing yourself every moment of the day and knowing you're one and you act and express and explore as the one. So that is enlightenment, and you can be enlightened at one moment and cannot, maybe you won't be enlightened at the next moment. So actually, enlightenment is a part of self-realization. Now, because Gautam Buddha or even let's say Guru Nanak Dev Ji, when they got enlightened, or what we call the enlightenment experience, they stopped talking about it. It was so beautiful, it could not be expressed. So what we have understood of enlightenment is our imagination and fascination by an experience someone else experienced, and we think it is supposed to be this way because this would be the highest form of oneness or whatever. Okay, but that's what is our assumption. This is our perception. This is a reality we have created. We have an experience enlightenment to know what it is. So for me, I feel the self awareness and self awareness, self realized is where you will stop talking about it. So right now, we most of us are self aware, but we are not genuinely self realized. We are not yet there. So self realization and then every moment living through self realization to me is what perhaps can be called enlightenment. And actually, what does enlightenment mean? If I take the vocabulary and I just open the dictionary, it is when you realize the light within you. So you don't have to become Gautam Buddha or think you have to have that experience. The moment you realize the divine consciousness within and choose to act accordingly, and also know and realize everyone else also has the right to choose to act through their own divine experience and divine expression, then you're enlightened. And then you're also a human being. So you can have, the graph going up and down. But that is what I understand enlightened. And why I feel moksha is the biggest um, delusion or illusion is because one, I have done, this is my seventh cycle of 2.5 million years. And each cycle has been very profound. I have done a lot of similar work even in those cycles. Now, either human consciousness is very dumb that you still don't get it right after 15 million years, or we have not understood the concept. So, for me, I believe we are not really dumb. We perhaps haven't understood. We are again fascinated with an idea and we want to believe it is correct. Now, let's say what they say is, moksha is this, right? That at some point you feel one with the source and then you join the source and you are in eternal peace. But would the source ever stop creating? He will continue to breathe its own consciousness back into life. The source can't be static. So even if I become one with it, go back as an energy or light and join the source, I'm going to be breathed back into consciousness. And I will be coming back into a new cycle of life. And the highest form of life is actually human experience. I understand Devi Devtas, masters, guides, angels, they have their own amazing level of consciousness. But there is a difference. And the difference is we have the power of choice, the power of free will, and the power of connection, which they don't have. Now, if you don't have the understanding of connection, even if you're a Devi Devta, what do you want to connect to? You don't have the concept. So, how will you connect back to the source? So, that is why the reason they call human beings the closest to divine consciousness, because we can get that connection. We have a sense of it. Of course, we don't use it, but at least we have that power or that choice, right? So So eventually, even if you go join the source, not source is not going to stop creating just because you have made the cycle and completed it. It's like very nice. You have come back. Now let's explore another thing, and then you're again back into life. So I don't understand how would it ever stop. It whether we take it scientifically in terms of energy, and or we take it philosophically in terms of God consciousness or divine consciousness or supreme intelligence, it is never going to stop creating. So if you join it, you will have to come back to life. There is no other way. It cannot, the source will not say this part of me is not going to go to life, because now this part, it's energy, right? It is interconnected and interlinked. It is one thing. So how will the source separate you? Then we are, if we believe in that the ones who completed the cycle are separated and now they are enjoying and resting in eternal peace, we are telling the source believes in separation, which is again not a possibility. So for me, I feel mox is the biggest. You know that carrot and stick? It's the carrot, the golden carrot.
Very interesting. Now, you've been a past life regression therapist for so many years,
Mm.
and you must have had amazing experiences. Can you share any of the memorable experience that you had in the past life regression of your clients?
Yeah, many, especially the parts where a channeling is happening in the past life, like uh, like one which was one of, it's why it is very memorable, because it led to so many things for me. So actually, I was a corporate executive. I was heading operations of some multinational company, and for a vertical, obviously not for the entire company. And I was just wanting to heal myself, right? So I went and trained as a past life regressionist to heal myself. Shortcut. I thought 10 days, so many sessions in 10 days. So, faster healing, the corporate mentality with feeling healing also. So I went and trained, and then a friend of mine said, you are anyways technically trained, even if you don't practice. This cousin of mine really needs your help, and she was from Canada. I said, okay, but I don't want to work. Don't tell anyone, all of that. So practically, it's my first as someone who practiced as a past life regressionist. And then obviously there was no looking back. And then it also helped with my first book. So this lady comes all the way from Canada, and we said everything. And then a very traumatic life, she wanted an answer for something with the relationship and all that. So all that happened, a lot of somatic release. She was continuously shaking for 45 minutes in the session. And for the one who's doing first time, it was kind of, like really taxing for me to handle it. But anyways, it went off well. And then she started saying things which felt that this is not her. She can't be saying all this from where the source is coming. But because I was myself a channel, I could quite relate. I knew something is happening. And then I note down everything, so I was no and 17 pages of noting down, and I was like, okay, enough. Now I can't take this one anymore. And one of the messages this guide kept on telling her was that you must write a book. You should write a book, whatever. And then eventually I told her, I said, listen, you're not going to write a book. Why are you giving me this message? I'm tired. It's 17 pages of writing, after the session is over. She said, no, 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 no. This is so and so guide. So she could actually recognize who the master was. And the messages are for you. And then eventually from there, the seed of that I have to write a book started, and then so many messages. And eventually, but I wrote the book after 7, 8 years. But this is most memorable because two things happened with this session. One is obviously first time me experiencing somatic. Someone is shaking and the whole bed was shaking with her. It is quite a little scary for the first timer. And then of course, my profession as a metaphysical therapist kind of got started from there, because I just couldn't say no to anyone who came post that. Something in me shifted, and then also because it was the seed for my writing, and it was, yeah, so that's one of the most memorable. I still remember it very clearly.
Wow, amazing. Have you had any experience where you could the client could see the lifetimes in either Atlantis or Lemuria or these earlier civilizations.
Yeah, I have one client. She is now a very dear friend. She saw two lifetimes. One was in Atlantis, and actually the other one is another, I would say, astral life in another planet. You know, another set of beings altogether. And then soon after that, the movie Atlantis also was released. So we really went and watched, and a lot of things actually matched. Interestingly, I don't know how they had kept it, I mean, scripted that movie. But yeah, I have had these kind of experience. Not very many though, maybe about seven, eight such like clients.
Yeah, so there is a theory about these sci-fi movies of Hollywood that they do get downloads, and then
Yeah, yeah,
that's why, yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of these downloads are through the spiritual, sorry, the silver graduates who worked with them.
Oh, interesting. Okay. One thing that is being talked about quite a bit recently is, and more so as we are moving into higher dimensions, that from a quantum perspective, there's no time and space.
Mhm.
So all our lifetimes are actually happening in parallel, and there is nothing like past or future. What's your point of view on this?
Definitely, it is true. Everything is happening. It's like a buffet. So everything is available, and every soul is choosing a constellation. So it's a buffet of constellations and billions of them, probably, of course, infinite, not even billion. And then every soul is going to choose a particular combination of a constellation depending on what they want to learn, how familiar they want the learning with, because we also have fear of the unknown. So we usually want to pick up something which, at least the part we have experienced before, so that we know what to do with it. That is from where the concept of past comes. Everything that has been experienced and is a little familiar, we call it past. And everything which is really very unknown, or maybe we have completely forgotten about the experience, is the future. And at the time we are experiencing it, we call it now. It is not because, there is a time and something happened, like there is no concept of time. And even in my second book, I start with this, that time is an illusion, and one illusion cannot heal another illusion, because even our pain is an illusion, right? So there is no concept of time. This space, I would say, still is there, but not the way we understand space as distance. Our our I have to use the word distance. I don't have a better word actually, but our distance from an experience is space, basically. That's my understanding, but not the way we see, in 3D, we have a space between things. There is no such thing as a space on the other side.
Hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of actually Einstein's construct of space-time fabric, that he
Hmm.
calls it as a space-time fabric. And in our Hindu scriptures, Indian scriptures, it used to be called as Indra's net. And
Hmm.
a recent modern physicist, Nassim Haramein, he says that because there's no time, he puts it as a space memory construct,
Yeah, it's a construct. Yeah,
where on the coordinates, this information is stored.
yeah, yeah,
Certain,
yeah.
and then you can
That's
access it uh, with the distance.
Yeah, because see, as a metaphysical therapist or even an energy healer, what do we do? It doesn't matter where the client is. It is in another galaxy, it's in another country, it's beneath the earth, right? It doesn't matter. We connect, and there is absolutely no sense of space and time. We just move in, intervene, get the things changed, and move out. That's what we do, right? So, if there would have been an actual, and it was not a construct of the mind, an actual time and space, then we couldn't have done this. Like in a family constellation, sometimes we heal up to 1,000 lifetimes or 100 generations back. Now, if there would really be a concept of time and space, it will take me 1,000 years to heal 100 generations at least, right? But it can happen in a fraction of a second by just shifting the perception and understanding. So, yeah, it is a construct of the mind.
Yeah, one interesting thing is that many times we heal things in this lifetime, which we say that so-called past or whatever, parallel
Mhm.
lifetimes. So, what I understand is, and general understanding is that when we come here, we forget who we are at the soul
Mm.
level, and then because we want to experience this reality here completely, and that's why we don't remember the other lifetimes and. Even at the soul level what we are, but there is a little bit of fungible kind of experience where some of the impressions which are very very deep in one lifetime can get into this lifetime. So what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, we carry everything actually because when I say we carry, it's not that we carry actually, it's like our essence. See, the soul has forever been there, and the soul is actually a divine particle and has come for a new experience, but it hasn't lost the previous experiences because nothing can be deleted. In this universe, nothing gets deleted and nothing can be forgotten. We can forget it, but we can't delete or erase an experience. We probably can overwrite it, what we call reprogramming in hypnosis or past life regression therapy. So, because nothing can be deleted and whatever has been created has been existing forever, so as per what we need in the current lifetime to explore the part of our consciousness that has a different kind of potential and also express ourselves in our authentic way. So, we have to overcome the things which are making us unauthentic. And some of them are the past life memory, what we call past life, basically other experiences. So we carry them, and then in fact they sometimes the imprints are so strong that the person is continuously doing the same thing but can never understand why am I doing this, even though I know I shouldn't be doing, but I'm still doing. Just now, just before in our session, our interview, I met a gentleman and he's saying, I'm such a good judge of everyone. I can see the person and I can know this is how they're gonna behave. But when it comes to a life partner, I get it wrong. And it is his third time. And it's going wrong. That's why we were meeting. He said, I don't know why. I said, you have to do a past life. That's why. And he's so intelligent. He's so well read. He's so well aware of his thought process. But he can't break the cycle because it is not this lifetime. Something has not been resolved in the past.
Hmm.
And then you have no control over it.
Right. How do you think that one can express the most authentic self and what the soul has planned for this lifetime?
So the most authentic self is to be authentic. First, you have to become aware of who you are. You can't be authentic if you don't know, you haven't done self work. And when we talk about authenticity, it's really has nothing to do with honesty. Honesty is a very small component of authenticity. Um, so an authentic person perhaps would be honest, but an honest person is not necessarily going to be authentic because authenticity is about your relationship with you.
Hmm.
When you see the good, the bad, and the ugly in you, and you're okay expressing it, exactly as it is, not because you believe, oh, I am good enough, I can't change, not because of that, but because you don't want to have a facade and portray who you are not. And you're ready to bear the brunt of your ugly side till you correct it, right? You're ready to be soul naked and everything naked in front of the society. And you don't have this facade or a self image you want to hold on to. Then you are stepping on the authentic path. Then of course your journey is totally different now. You would be reborn in this lifetime if you can reach that level of authenticity. So the path to authenticity is self work and self awareness. You may be honest, but a lot of honest people are not at all authentic because they're not honest with themselves. Mhm.
Very true. You talked about law of attraction some time back. So I want to ask you, mm, Have you experienced universe conspiring to create synchronicities and miracles? And can you share some experiences on?
Yeah, I think everything, see, the universe, what is the purpose of universe? The only purpose of universe is to evolve, to grow, right? Growth is the only purpose, but there's a condition to it. It's not an unconditional universe. The universe is very conditional, and the condition is that the growth happens only with joy. We as human beings think growth happens through pain. Actually, growth does not happen through pain. When we reach a level where we understand the growth is supposed to be through joy, that's where the actual growth is happening. Rest of it is we are preparing, we are digging, and that's the hard work. And then we realize, okay, now it's not going to work this way. Then what is the way? So the universe has a conditional offer of, offer letter for you, and you need to accept it with joy. Now, if and then the universe, because it is divine consciousness and because it is creating for the joy of creation, it is not interested to see how my creation looks like. Like if the creator is creating a sand particle or a lizard or let's say Ashwara Rai, for the universe all are equally beautiful. Nothing is less, nothing is more. And the joy it experiences creating whatever it creates remains the same. Now, the universe is not capable of pain and cannot create for pain for anyone. So, if the universe cannot create pain, then how can it work against us? Right? It cannot work against us. So, if logically I go without the need to see anything, I need to just keep reminding myself that I am living in a universe incapable of creating pain and suffering, and a universe which is neutral, absolutely non biased, but honors my free will. Now, I need to choose whatever. So, once we reach there, then we start seeing synchronicities, and I've seen a lot of it. Um, I want to give you a very, very common example of my own life. So I was told through someone else I'm supposed to write a book 7, 8 years ago, and I didn't take it seriously because English is my fourth language. I'm not good at it. Um, and I had a corporate job. Why would I want to give up that and write a book? And I was very new to the concept of spiritual work. And I thought that I don't know anything. What am I supposed to write? And who will write who will read what I write? Who am I? I'm not the famous whoever. And then fast forward 7 years later, when the call became so strong that I thought, okay, I will write, but I will not publish it. Just let me get this out of the way. Because now I would do a family constellation, the person will give me the same message. Oh, sir, you know what? When I was doing that role, it came that Sahar should write a book. It became too much. And then there was a point that I couldn't do any work without getting this message. So now, of course, after so many years of being into the field and being a channel, you need to take these messages seriously. Otherwise, I can't preach because if I'm not practicing, how can I preach it? So, for me to be authentic, I said, let me write the book. Now, because I didn't want to publish, I never looked for an agency. I never looked for an editor. I did nothing. I just hired a book coach though, because how do I write a book? And then I wrote it, and then a friend of mine said, just don't publish it, write it and get it out of the way. And I was very convinced. The book, or whoever wanted me to write the book, obviously the divine, brought me an editor through WhatsApp. Then brought me, and the first editor got really lost in the message of the book. So there were chapters which I was reading the edited version. I knew she's not edited, she's been reading only. There were so many mistakes. So then uh, the book or the concept, whatever had to be born, brought a second editor who gave a structure to the book. And then the book found a person who read my book in a cafe and decided to go to so it was self-published eventually. I thought 100 copies karke, I should get rid of it. This lady reads the book, likes it so much, decides to go to my current publisher, which is Browser Libraries, and tell them, this is a really good book. Can you publish this? Do you think you can publish this? And the guy said, we don't believe in fiction. We don't do fiction. I said, no, no, it's a non-fiction. It's just a spirituality. So then the publisher called me after 3 days. They found me on the net and called me and said, last 3 days I've been reading your book and we want to publish it. Now, if I have to give it's miraculous. Otherwise, you can be in queue for 3 years and yet not get published. Your book can be rejected after 3 years, right? And things like that. So I have seen many. This is one example, but because it is a tangible product in the hand of people, people can relate to it. So, and similarly with my, my clients, like if client of mine wanted, there was a relationship and it was not happening for 3 years. They were struggling with whether they want to be together, they shouldn't be together for whatever the circumstance. And I told her, I said, listen, change your prayer. Don't ask for a companion, uh, ask for something else. Your prayer is wrong. This is the channel is telling me this. And she says, I sat with your message and then I said, okay, I actually not looking for a husband or a companion. I'm looking for the father of my children. And within 15 days they got married.
Wow.
You see, so these are like really miraculous stuff. But our body is a miracle, right?
Yeah.
And we don't pay attention. We need some more evidence. So there's so many things. If you look around, you see actually the universe always is giving you a message and really conspiring to help you to complete your journey with joy instead of struggle. But because we don't listen, then we have to struggle.
True, true. So you talked about your book, and I do remember the titles of both of your books. The first one, Twice Born, and the second one is Because Time Does Not Heal. And
Hmm.
I completely agree with that. And by the way, I also had the synchronicities in terms of my book. I wrote it literally in 30 days. And
Wow.
my kid used to wake me up at 4 a.m. and mom write the book kind of thing. So,
Wow.
so yeah,
Amazing.
it became number one bestseller later on. So it is all a miracle. It's like all
How nice.
channel. So, in terms of because time does not heal, and I have experienced myself, I'm very fortunate and blessed that I'm connected with my son who crossed over in 2020. But as a mother, it's a big trauma, and I have been healing myself on this consciously because I personally believe that time does not heal anything, and this grief is going to be there, but
Yeah.
it's my responsibility to heal. So, what can you tell our viewers on this? Because time does not heal anything.
So as I said, time is a construct. It's not really real. And see, only truth heals. Even if you have physical pain and you go visit a physician, and if you have a pain in your stomach, but you tell the physician the pain is in your head, right? It won't be healed because you will get the wrong medicine. So it is actually the truth, an understanding of what is the truth of a situation that heals. Now, what happens with time is because, unfortunately or fortunately, we as human beings can be distracted very easily and we can keep replacing things. We have this mechanism of fight, flight, hide, freeze.
Hmm.
So, with time, we stop fighting it, we flight it, okay, or we hide from the experience. So, because we take ourselves out of the equation temporarily and we distract ourselves with something else, we think it has been healed till the next person or next similar situation will actually trigger us and put another knife into the same wound. We will not realize we have not been healed. Okay, so the same gentleman I was talking, because he's not healed, someone of the other will keep coming, even if he marries now after 10 years again. And if he's not healed, it's going to be a repeat experience. So time suppresses the emotion and makes the wound become very sticky and very, very ugly and very deeply infected because we haven't paid attention. It's like a dustbin and you keep putting things and you just cover the lid so the smell doesn't come. But the moment you know, take off the lid, the whole house is going to be, and smelling. So that is what time does. it cannot be a healer because it is not the truth, right? So the healing comes from awareness, but it comes from the awareness of the truth. When something happens, we perceive that situation based on our conditioning, our belief system, and what memories from the past, this life or any other lifetime we carry. Now, how if see if there is letter 6 and I'm reading it from this side, it is 6 to me, but it would be 9 to you because now you're reading it from there. And both are truth, but it is our reality truth. It's not really, so we need the eagle eye point of view to see what exactly really it is, right? So unless we do that and see the divine truth in every situation, we're not going to heal. It may be 1000 lifetimes, it doesn't matter.
Improve. Yeah, such profound thing. Yeah, absolutely. Is it okay, and you decide yourself, but is it okay if we do a little bit of light channeling right now?
So probably have to put a question
Yeah.
and I see if the channel opens for live channeling.
Okay, sure. So I have a little couple of questions which are related to humanity, and that's why I
Mhm.
thought it is good to channel the source.
Mhm.
Right now, I remember some time back you said that the source creates everything for joy, and
Mhm.
the source doesn't want pain, but it's our human mind that thinks that we learn through and grow through pain. Now there's a lot of polarity in this world, especially on this earth. There are so many wars happening, so many natural disasters happening, and there's so much suffering, and it's just really it's painful to watch all of this. So, what is it that we need to learn as a humanity, and why is this thing happening right now?
Um, okay. Wait. Humanity has been long asleep, and no amount of pain has brought them home. The only way that they can wake up is now through feeling the pain themselves. Because when they saw the pain of others, they turned their faces and they left the ground. Many souls need to leave so that the new consciousness can come into bodies that can handle the new levels of energy, awareness, and the experience of the new consciousness. Many bodies are too dense and cannot handle the new consciousness energy, and they will not be able to do justice to the expression of the divine in the new earth that is coming to existence. It's not that I am not aware of what is happening. I am an observing source. I see what is happening. But it is for you to see which side are you going to choose. You have been given the power of choice to make better choices for the collective. Every time the choice was given, it was abused. And it is now time to see the consequences of your abuse on each other. And if you don't wake up now, there would be no choice but to eradicate as many as possible to open the space for the new consciousness to descend on it. And that is it.
Okay. When we talk about new consciousness, what can you say about the new babies that are being born now?
Not all of them are the ones who are here to help because the polarity is going to exist. The polarity won't change because there is going to be always a mind and a soul. The mind was supposed to be complementary to the soul, but you made a polarity out of it. And now that cycle won't come to an end this easily. So, not every soul that is coming to help. This is what you need to realize. Many souls are coming to also to destroy. And it is your duty as a light worker to raise the children and actually create awareness so that the other light workers and the souls who have come for help can find their sangha and community, and their light can be so strong that it can hold the new collective consciousness. If again you guys go your way and lose the sense of sangha and community, and if you become your own individual self, not remembering you are a part of the collective, you're going to recreate the same thing. So it's not that every soul is coming to help. Remember, many are coming to destroy. You need to hold the space for the identify and hold the space for the ones who are here to help, and then create a ripple effect so that we can't erase the others, but we should not allow them to affect the new consciousness.
How do you transmute the dense consciousness into lighter vibration?
Um, Everyone should work on themselves. A lot of people think being a light worker is about helping others and holding the light for others. Being a light worker means that you work so much on yourself that your light alone can illuminate many, many other lives. We are not here to help anyone. It's about not really helping, but facilitating everyone to recognize their light. The more you do this, and the more people take responsibility, the more the other side would be taken care of. You cannot really transmute so much of dense polarity because they also have a job and they are actually doing it perfectly fine. You guys are losing the path. They are very much on their path.
Okay.
Very interesting. They
Uh,
are actually doing their job perfectly fine. Oh my God, this is really interesting. Oh, I need to stay with this man. Beautiful.
mhm. What do you think of AI? Is it a curse or a boon, and how is it going to
It's
be?
a distraction.
Is it going to have?
It's neither a curse or not a boon. It is how you use it, actually, right? It's a distraction for sure.
Is it going to have its own consciousness?
Sorry?
Is it going to have its own consciousness or awareness? Because ultimately, even the solid, so to say, everything is actually part of the divine, right? So this is also, even if it's artificial intelligence, it is also a part of divine. It's just not aware of itself. So is there going to be a time in future for Earth where the AI is going to be self-aware?
You're asking me if angels would come on earth and be starting to dine with human beings. It may be a part of the divine. Everything is a part of the divine, but everything is supposed to have its own place.
Okay. Okay. So I have a few questions which I ask every guest. One is, what is the ultimate purpose of life as per you?
As for me, to live joyfully,
Okay. What is self-love to you?
to love yourself enough to allow others also to love themselves. When someone else is loving himself, I should not be hurt because I'm so full with my own self love.
Okay. And do you have any message, and whether channeled or from your side, for the viewers of this podcast and for this podcast in general?
My only message would be practice to detach yourself from the pain. Uh, I'm not saying this because I want to preach a spirituality. I'm saying this because I believe no one deserves to carry pain. And it is actually against human intelligence and an insult to human intelligence if you want to hold on to the pain and carry it everywhere. So just look at it, understand it, feel it fully. You want to cry, you want to do whatever with it, please do, but drop it. You don't deserve to carry your pain everywhere you go. You can easily replace it.
Okay. And do you have any message for the podcast in general?
I just find it has a very fresh energy, and I it's my prayer, not a message, that it maintains its freshness. It's like a, you know, fresh air, a breeze of fresh air. It's very different from all other, the energy is very different. I'm not talking in terms of feeling, but the energy is very different. So I pray and wish that it maintains its freshness. It's so breezy, so airy, feels so good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And where can people find you?
Probably a most regular place, but I don't do it. I have a lady who does it for me, a young kid actually, but really talented. And most of my programs are announced on Instagram.
Okay.
And yeah, mostly because I am not a very social media. I do have a lot of stuff on social media, but I'm not the one who keeps going and checking and wanting to find out who is there or not. But a lot of most regular updates are on Facebook and Instagram, but Instagram the most.
And your website?
Yeah, it's www.coachsahar.com, and the email ID is connect@coachsahar.com. And on the Instagram, I am Clarity Coach Sahar. I believe my handle. I don't even know what's my handle. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
We will
I
provide all
belong to
the
another era.
we'll provide all the links along with the YouTube video.
Yeah,
So
I do have a YouTube channel as well. Yeah, you're right. That's also there.
amazing. So it's been such an honor and such a pleasure having you here, Sahar. And
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the love and light and keep shining your light bright. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you. Bless you and thank you for having me. Pleasure is all mine. Had a great time actually.